Thank you, Nighthawk, and welcome to Plato's Cave on WCCR, coming to us from Australia for Revolution Radio on Revolution Radio. That's the land down under. That's right, Australia. It's home to ideas, some of which are fresh and others are lukewarm, and others are so fresh they don't even have a temperature. How about them apples? So that's good. Also, this station that you're listening to right now doesn't have any sponsors other than you, the listeners. And we would be more than grateful if you could find it in your hearts to donate. Any kind of currency, including crypto, is good. It's the webpage. It's very simple to donate, it really is. And it helps to keep the lights on. Because we won't get this kind of medley of opinions and facts and insights anywhere else. And I've looked. It's really quite interesting. People that come together on the station. So if you can, please donate. If you cannot, that's okay. Because, it's not easy. So maybe you can tell people about the station. That's good. That's really good. The more people listen, the more people donate. It's very simple mathematics, you see. So if you can, please donate. Or if you cannot, tell people about the station. Maybe you like the show. Hey, if you listen to the show, you might like it. Hey, maybe you're a new listener. If you're a new listener, welcome. Today is the 15th of February, 2024, one day after Valentine's Day, another made-up holiday to sell chocolate. So, you know what the real holiday is? Someone told me today. Today is the real holiday. It's when all chocolate is 80% off. 80% off. Oh, yeah, today is the holiday. You can catch the cave on air, on the line, and on your smart device. So you happen to listen anywhere or listen at home on a great step up to the radio. That's right. Why not? Put your feet up, a nice cup of hot cocoa. What's even better is that the archives are free. Another good reason to donate. The archives are free. Go in there, check them out. All free. Before we start broadcasting at you in anger, and we will in just a moment, we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from which we broadcast in for Dave.
It's the Bunjalung.
Thank you. It has been for a while. For myself, of course, it's the Iraq people, and we would like to pay our respects to elders past, present, and future. Thank you very much. Sometimes, Dave, the copyright itself. You're out in the world, and I was driving, as it were, and I was listening to the radio, and I thought, what? Now,
what befell your ears, Mickey?
What befell, indeed. Now, I don't want to, kill you all with suspense, but essentially, what happened is this. So these South Koreans, Korean, but the South Korean scientists decided to grow rice. That's good. Rice is good. I like rice. We like rice. Rice is a good thing. Except they grew them with beef cells to make a new protein-rich space food. Apparently, it's quite nice tasting. Right? Now, what they've done is this. Okay, it's a beef-rice hybrid. The principle is similar to growing meat cells in the lab, except this time they did so inside the pores of rice grains. The structure provided a stable scaffold for the animal cells, while certain molecules in rice helped them flourish. The rice was first coated in fish gelatin, which helped the beef cells stick. Once seeded with the cow muscle and fat stem cells, the rice was left to culture for 9 to 10 days. The end result is a pink rice that looks a bit eerie, but is apparently completely food safe and fairly nutritious. Because it had to happen. Is it an animal? Is it a plant? You know that game, 20 questions?
Yeah.
It's only a yes or no answer that you can give to any question. Is it an animal? Is it a plant? Is it alive? I'm not sure.
So what they've not done, Mackie, is genetically modified rice to be beef rice.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet.
So they've taken ordinary rice, covered it in fish gelatin.
Yes, sir.
And then introduced the beef by growing it in the cell culture solution. Oh my goodness!
I know.
How expensive? How expensive would that be? Because of all the extra processing.
Honestly. Here we go. Cost should be much lower too, with beef price coming in at around $2.23 per kilogram compared to beef at $15. So it's cheaper.
Oh, I see. No, so that's compared to beef, not to rice.
Oh yeah, rice of course is cheap as chips. So but yeah, but if you're looking for protein, and this is your perfect meal right there. Rice and carbs and protein, and off you go, my friend. Apparently the taste is good. The radio lady said that the taste was quite nice. But what?
In the 80s, Mickey, when I would wake up and beefcake, right? That sure, that's some protein. I could eat beef, but I mean, on maybe possibly going interstellar, we're looking for alternatives. That's what we're doing. We need to be able to take something we can grow in space and not have to go through this hideous procedure to make the rice that we could have added some beef to, have a scientist add the beef to it.
No more thinking for you or doing things. It's all done.
Did I overthink that? Did I?
Oh, brother. But
I would have liked to have had the grant to develop it. That would have been nice.
Yes, that would have been quite something. But that's not the only crazy thing, of course, that happened. Of course it is. What?
So you heard this driving today, is that right?
Sorry?
You heard this driving?
Yeah. I was just driving and it was on the radio, and then I did a bit of a search online and I found a whole bunch of articles. And
awesome.
Initially I thought, yeah, right.
Sure they did. Yeah.
That didn't happen, but it did. That actually happened. We can also look forward to an imminent ground invasion of Rafah, which currently is home to 1 million civilians. Because that's what you need to do. You need to get into Rafah and get rid of. Is it Hamas? Yes, I think it is. Let's get rid of Hamas there.
So
1 million.
So just for everyone, for my benefit, no, not for everyone. That's just for me. Where's this? Where's Rafah?
Oh, so Rafah's it's part of the Gaza Strip, right?
Okay.
So the Israelis they're still they're neck deep in their efforts to rid the world of the evildoers Hamas, and
by cleansing the whole Gaza Strip.
Well, that's the idea. And now they're preparing a ground invasion of Rafah, which is, like I said, housing 1 million people, including a whole bucket load of refugees. Also, at the same time, they're launching, or they have launched, in fact, it's already done, said and done, they launched airstrikes against Lebanon. And they could argue against Hezbollah, obviously, in Lebanon. Because lucky that the war is not regionalizing, it's not spreading at all.
No, that's good.
Yeah,
totally.
So much better.
No.
Ukrainians are attacking across the border, as we all know, but this was the deadliest attack so far. There was a deadly attack in December, I lied to you, where I think, how many died? Let me just double check. 25 people in December, and 100 were wounded. That's in Belgorod. That's quite close to the Ukrainian border, but it is actually in Russia. And just the other day, yesterday, another 5 people have been killed and I think 18 wounded in another strike on the Russian city. So the Ukrainians are, in fact, striking Russian territory as well now.
Yeah, they've done that a few times with some drones, sent them deep undercover into Russia, taking oil refineries and storage plants and munitions factories. So that's interesting.
What's even more interesting is Taylor Swift cottage industry. That's the most interesting thing. Because, these are all news headlines, and again, we only told what they want us to know. And I get it, that's okay. But most people don't even register any of it because Taylor Swift is coming to Australia.
But it just means that she's been accepted, Mickey.
Australia!
Into the parasitic class.
she's a billionaire now.
Yeah, I
She's
know.
what?
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I didn't know who she was until about a couple of weeks ago. Like, what? You've been living under many rocks.
She was the one who George Soros had purchased her music from her.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
through a shelf company.
I
I hope
didn't
I'm getting this right.
I have no
And
idea.
and then that prevented her from making money through Spotify
Oh,
because
okay.
she
Well, good
didn't
for
own
her.
it anymore. This was
You
all
gotta,
the stuff from the music company, right?
yeah,
So
you gotta.
what she's done is re-recorded it all and put it on Spotify.
Oh, well, that's not a bad idea.
So now she
Um,
makes all the revenue.
Good for her. But honestly, though, honestly,
I didn't
a
think we are going to bring up
billionaire.
George Soros. Yeah,
So,
no.
look, I like. Okay, these are the things I like, and I'm sure everybody likes them as well. I like music. I
Hmm.
like movies. I like books. I like entertainment in general. I even like to watch the occasional sport thing. You know,
You like
you know,
walking hand in hand along the beach and bushwalking.
yeah. So Aquarius. I like long walks along the beach. No, but it's out of whack. If it's out of whack. Well, I'm all for beef rice and and bombing Gaza into the Stone Age.
Hmm.
I draw the line at billionaire actors and pop stars and whatnot. Because it's insane. It's insane. If somebody likes to be usually, and I don't want to generalize. I know that you are yourself are a muso. My wife is a musician. So I'm going to just say this, and you tell me if I've got rocks in my head. But
Go on.
in my
Go on.
mind,
Yep.
artists, any kind of artist, musicians included, of course, they have a passion for their art.
Hmm.
In my mind, and they like doing it, irrespective of whether or not it gets the money. Like if I'm a passionate musician, I want to make music. I want to play music. I just want to. That's what I want to do. That's in my mind. That's how I think it works, right? And I think that's nice. That's great. And a lot of artists, comedians, actors, anyone really that performs in front of others always says they get a lot of energy from the crowd. Right? I mean, they perform for the crowd. They perform because they want to perform and they want to make people, feel a certain way, or they have a message, or whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter, right? But they do it for the people, right? Now, I don't know if that's true anymore, Dave, because I look at this money that is being made. Right? Remember this: Mozart died penniless. For instance, okay, for instance.
Let's just say this: out of all the musicians in the world, out of every single last one, and going back through history, all of them that have had the same description of their life that you just provided, where they want to play music for people. Out of all of them, there must be the smallest percentage of those who ever made money at all, let alone
Yeah,
were terribly successful and had a global following which doesn't seem to end. Right? Every other one died penniless or just made a meager amount just to survive.
now, I don't begrudge anyone a good income. Everybody should have a good income
Hmm.
and be able to live well. Everybody. Okay? I really deeply believe that we should all be well. We should all be able to afford healthcare, etc., etc. That's not the case, of course, at all.
Hmm.
But I'm just blown away by the money that is made by artists, right, and sports stars, etc., etc. Which I mean, entertainment is important, and the arts are very important, right? But it is more important in my mind to make sure people don't starve to death, and we treat preventable diseases and things like that. Put money there, right? I mean, of course, I'm completely insane even raising it because we spend quadrillions on armaments and defense and whatever.
Hmm.
But it does boggle the mind when you look at the money involved that these people earn, and it's just not right. it's not a good thing, right? And you see it, and it speaks to something I mentioned before: the emptiness and purpose that many people uh, lack in their lives, and seek to fill up with other things, movies and music, etc., being one of those things. And you know, we should reward people. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody should be comfortable. Yes, yes, yes. But we can no longer afford billionaires, no matter what they do and how they got those billions. Completely irrelevant. It's just not. Our society can no longer sustain it. It's not possible. We will burn ourselves to the ground. Okay, and all these things that are happening. I mean, these wars, these random attacks. I heard about the thing in Kansas City. I don't know the details of it. I know.
Oh, that was pretty bad. I caught up with that today.
Right, a person got killed, right, and a couple dozen were injured.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently 3 people were arrested. But the point is, I don't remember in Germany having any mass shootings of any kind or random shootings. I mean, of course, crime exists, but crime was usually a thing for profit, or, and when I say profit, if it was like a psychopathic killer, then the profit would be in the act itself, and they would get satisfaction from actually killing, right? So that's I get that, but these random things that are happening over and over, where people just start shooting other people for no good reason at all, and it's a symptom of the time we're in. We're in a pressure cooker, and the emotions and the energy out there is so negative in many ways, right? Because if you're not a millionaire by the time you're in your 20s, like Mr. Beast, for example, you're a failure, right? And to be clear, for every Mr. Beast, there are 20 million YouTube users that, like Dave and I, haven't made $1 million on it, right? And it's just our guidelines and sense of proportion is completely out of whack. The shadows on the wall have gotten broader and longer and completely warped out of shape, and we think, oh, that's normal. So then looking at the carrot that's shaped like a chicken drumstick, and it's actually a chicken drumstick. No, it's a carrot. Well, it's got carrot DNA. That's good enough, isn't it? There's some carrot in there. I don't know.
The chicken would be able to see well.
I know. Tell me. I don't know, man. It's just nuts.
Yeah.
It's.
Do you know what? I do think there's been another shift, not your shift, but a shift in the world. I heard today some very interesting things that a company is doing, which is following the green line and emissions and carbon, and it's very interesting to hear all of that. And I've got to use the right words here. The pursuit of this green line and emissions is helping who? Who's it helping? And you can react as much as you like, right? You can ask who, maybe you can hate me for it. That's for questioning it. This green line, Mackie, and that small video, the 1 minute we did of the carbon neutrality that can be achieved really simply in Australia by just putting out 15% of the fires.
I know, right?
And then suddenly we're all carbon neutral. We don't have to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
We're in fact, if we put out more than 15% of the fires, then we could start selling carbon credits to the rest of the world, because we can absorb your carbon up to a point. And I thought, well, look, we're doing all these other things. the one-time use plastics, I believe plastic is it's a dangerous thing. If only we had a campaign to put it in the bin
That's a good idea, Dave.
instead of getting rid of it entirely because we can't be trusted with it. That's the kind of punishment that I feel that we've been afflicted with.
Let's go back to glass.
Glass is fantastic.
I love glass.
I know. Everything tastes better in glass too, by the way.
That's the truth.
Yeah, I know. We're not sponsored by anyone, but Coca-Cola, if you want to throw some money our way. A nice icy cold Coke in a glass bottle was just that was the day, I tell you. So I'm taking this one further step, and I sent you a link for this one, and that is, I didn't think this day would come, but it has. And that is that our Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, just to date the show, if you listen to this in the future, he supports a vote within Parliament calling on the US and the UK to free Julian Assange. It's an amazing step forward. I suppose, and I've had a joke about this today, that all the other things that the Prime Minister's attempted hasn't gotten up. And he's, in a fictitious scenario, Mackie, just talking to his parliamentary friends, going, "I need something, right? I got to achieve something, surely." And he goes, "How about freeing Julian Assange?"
Hooray!
Yeah. You think I really could? Well, sure. Give it a go.
I mean, what could go wrong?
What could go wrong? See, Julian Assange is currently being held and for extradition to the US, in which 175 years of a jail sentence he would be serving without a jury. It's just a military court. Here's your charges. You're serving 175 years. But I couldn't do it that long. He's going to have to get some really good telomerase.
That's what he does.
Right? Just to last all the way through that. But I had thought that it would be good if someone could at least initiate this, and because he already spent 5 years in a prison. Yeah, so I suppose it would only be 170 years.
Hurrah!
Right? If he could have legal representation, which you can't in a military court. So I look at it. Do I hope that he's freed? Yes, I do, because he'd won something like one of those awards for a good, press or publication thing. I don't know what the name of it was, but he won something like excellence in publishing or something. In the year before, he was accused of all these things, and he's a publisher. That's what he is. So it doesn't matter which lens you look through. He did release information to the public, but there's something really important here.
But in the same way that newspapers and radios and televisions do, as a publisher, editor, and not even editor, he didn't edit it, he just published it.
That's right.
I found it really interesting that Albanese was. I like his language. Like he's like, you can say what you want about him, but he's down to earth kind of guy. He goes, look, enough is enough. This can't go on forever. He said,
That's
in
right.
those words.
Yeah.
And he was saying what everybody's thinking, because that's just it's a farce. It's ridiculous. You know what I would do if I were Anthony Albanese? I would make Julian Assange ambassador to England. That's what I would do.
Oh.
I'll make him the ambassador, give him a diplomatic immunity, and then out he goes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
Or smuggle him out in diplomatic luggage, whatever. Because look, these are things that you can do as prime minister. You appoint.
That's fair. That's fair enough.
Ambassadorship. So if anybody listens, if this happens, Dave, it was us. Okay.
It was you. You came up with the idea. I love it.
Came up. So if you're listening, if anyone is close to Anthony Albanese, give him the idea to appoint Julian Assange even as an assistant ambassador, if that's a thing. I don't really care. Any diplomatic staff, really, and then diplomatic immunity, and out he comes back to Australia. That would be the simplest thing by far. And can't really do much about that because diplomatic immunity. So look, it is ridiculous. But this is the thing, though, Dave. This is the thing. The stuff that he published, okay, was heinous. Put America in a really bad light.
But isn't that whistleblower material?
Yeah, but it didn't cost any lives.
That's right.
See, the argument has always been, well, if you do this treason, blah blah blah, and then lives are lost. Well, okay, then prove it. Which lives were lost because of what was published in WikiLeaks? What was it? Who was killed? Right? Or just give me some general idea. Nothing specific. And I'll tell you, I don't think there'd be terribly many people.
Well, if you forced that argument, there'd be a lot of slippery floors.
There would be.
Suddenly.
Yeah. I know,
yeah.
Right? Whoops.
And open windows, yeah. But anyway, so look, I thought it was very good, and that at least it's raised, and I hope there's momentum on it, and I do hope there's a tremendous outcome there, because whistleblowing doesn't matter where you are. I've had that immunity before, and I think it's terribly important for a working civilization, let's say, for it to have that immunity for people to call out when wrongs are being done. And that's it. That's the way it should be. That's where it should end. That's the argument. And let it go. Just forget it. Let's move on. Don't you think? Because if you allow the wrongs to continue, this is that thing. You're allowing it to happen to somebody else. If you're in a position of power enabling that to continue, then you're just as bad as the people who are doing the wrong thing. And we need to stop this. So that's where I stand on it.
Look. He managed to eke out something of life for himself. He's got kids with this lawyer. So while I can't imagine how many years has it been actually, Dave? How many years? It's been 20 years?
20 years plus 5 in prison.
20 years. 20 years. 20 years.
It's rotten.
For saying that the Americans did some uncouth things, which we all knew anyway. We knew this. And certainly, it is not the punishment doesn't fit the crime. I'm sorry, it's just ridiculous. And not only that, the people that were in charge then, because think back 20 years ago, right? We're talking the Bush administration again, right? The neocons. What was it? Strom Thurmond, senator, I think. I don't know if he's still alive. He said this is the worst form of cash and carry government I've ever seen. That's what he called the second Bush administration under Bush Jr. And we know now they were lying. No one has been indicted because Colin Powell went to the UN and lied. He knew he was lying. He said he knew he was lying when he talked about weapons of mass destruction. And that occasioned the death of 1 million Iraqis.
That's right.
Plus, thousands and thousands of US and allied service men and women. No one was punished. And
their Middle Eastern disease that comes and goes. Yeah.
Yeah, and then no one was punished. No one was put up for it. No one was sent to jail. And of course, it has resulted. Now, if you could argue that if that had led to a peaceful Middle East, a controlled and you go, okay, I get it. It got worse. It led to the birth of ISIS. Yeah, and it's still worse than it was before, much worse. So they lied knowingly. to the UN in an open forum. Then they went to war under false pretenses, killing a million Iraqis, and like I said, many, many thousand servicemen and women, and destroyed the country, pretty much, set the stage for ISIS. And again, sorry to belabor the point, not a single person was held to account. But, Julian Assange, who wasn't lying, and this is the thing, he wasn't lying. What he said was all true. He didn't make it up. He didn't defame anyone, right? It was just these are the documents that the Americans don't want you to see. Here they are. Oh. So, because we're all focusing on the wrong thing, and then they tried to frame him from some sexual crimes,
That's
rape
correct,
or whatever.
Yeah, they did.
Which no one talks about anymore because that was nonsense, right? So, but I think people have forgotten what went before. I think people have forgotten why he is the Philippines. It's like this person after 20 years, like almost like Nelson Mandela in some ways. He's been in prison so long, people forgot what he was fighting for in some ways. Now, it didn't happen with Nelson Mandela, of course, because Apartheid was still alive and well for a long time. But certainly, we seem to have forgotten, I think, the root cause, the reasons for Julian Assange's predicament, right? And he showed, in my opinion, and has shown, immense courage. Right? Now, having said that, if he had done the same thing that he did to the Americans to the Russians, he probably would have fallen out of a window. So that's, I guess you got to count the chickens, right? But I don't know, brother.
I know it is nuts.
It is. It's so insane. It's so insane. It'll get worse though. It'll be more and more. There's a song. Actually, I can't even tell you in there. No, but it has gotten to the point where you shake your head and you forget what actually happened and what went before, because we don't have the attention span anymore. Nobody cares. In another 10 years, they won't even know who Julian Assange is, because a lot of people would have died.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, think about it. I mean, people that were in their 40s back then, they're in their 60s now, right? They'll be in their 70s and 80s, and generations are coming through, and they're more interested in Taylor Swift.
Oh, she'd be a trillionaire.
That's
by then.
That's yeah. So, look, Dave.
You got to buy that ticket to Mars, Mickey. That's what I'm saying.
That's the only way to get out of this mess, right?
Yeah. So look, if 1 million people can give me $1, that'd be great. I just appreciate that.
Let me start.
That way, you've got to start somewhere. And if I say, well, okay, there was 8 billion people on the planet, I'm just going to ask each one of you to give me $1. That's enough.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, look, it is.
And you make it right into my hated category, straight from Dave to hated. Parasite. There's no stopping it go, no collecting $200. Dave, hated Parasite.
Oh, I know. I'd start that company with you. So,
but you see,
you wouldn't be hating on me so much then.
This is the thing, though. Let's say we had billions. 8 billion. Let's say you had 8 billion, I had 8 billion.
Wow.
I'll be honest with you. I really would try to do whatever I could. Would I want to pay off all my debts? Yes, so I don't have to worry about it. I can focus on, whatever I need to focus on, creating foundations, maybe figuring out better food programs, water for people. Whatever. Education, I think, is critical, right, for young children, to give them a chance and to make them see, right, the world for what it is, similar to, I guess what happens when they live. But with that kind of money, you could, because I don't need a yacht. I don't need two or five private jets. I can only drive one car anyway. My car for my wife, one car for me, maybe whatever. And you could do a lot with that kind of cash. And that's just one guy or two guys even, right? If they all got together, right, and then tried to do something. I'm always reminded of Keanu. Look, I don't know if it's true or not, but there's a story that's circulating with Keanu Reeves, who always lives a very simple life. He takes the subway in New York. He doesn't live in a fancy place. He had a pretty hard life, and he's quite.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
He's quite generous as well to his to people. And he would have made gazillions of dollars. Okay. No flea. I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy. I just need a car to get me from A to B. That's all I need. It's A to B. It's got wheels. It'll go right. But I don't want it to break down. So it has to be good repair. A good car and good repair. A to B. That's what I want. No, really. And he is living the example
Mm-hmm.
for everybody else.
Yeah.
No, look, I don't know how much of it is true or not, but I'm sure there's some truth to it. And it's sort of, it gives you comfort to know people like that exist.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're all not like that, then, what hope do we have? It's just, good luck to you. I don't know, brother. I don't know.
Well, okay, so let's, if I boil it down, yeah, I think I do the same thing as you. I certainly wouldn't. I wouldn't be buying everyone everything.
Oh.
But making things right. Yeah, I would do something similar, but I'd want to be known not as the guy that everyone gave $1 to.
It's dollar guy. Hey, dollar guy.
Yeah. But rather, I would want to do something meaningful. Yeah, I paid my debts off, but I would start to try and produce content which would help the planet, and to have good ideas. I know we have a lot of good ideas, Mackie, and I think that there could be some of those that they could benefit the world if it could get up and be a thing. But you're going to be getting someone else to start your car in the morning if you fight too hard against the system.
See, and you hit the nail on the proverbial head, because if you were to do this thing, and people would see that you didn't become corrupted by this kind of wealth, right? I mean, what kind of example are you setting for the rest of the corrupted? That's not good. That's just not good. What are you doing? You peacemonger. And you're right. That there would be attempts for sure. If you were that visible, and you would be as the $1 man. Hey, there's Dave, the $1 man. Look at him. Hey, Dave, buy me a coffee. You would have a fairly significant profile having that kind of money. And if people, saw how you spend it, then, you would shame them. I can't think of another word. You would shame them. And I don't think those people like to be shamed or shown up
Mm-hmm.
in that way. And there would be steps taken to remove you from the state of living to transport you to another state of death as swiftly as possible. Probably through a window or slippery floors or polonium, or who knows what's going to happen. It's just stop walking, it's killing you. Because it's that's where we are. That's the world. And you look at people that try to do the right thing, like these inventors. I know we're going a bit off field, but you raised a valid point. People invented clean energy devices.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy in Melbourne that invented a car that runs on water. Well, hydrogen, but let's call it water because it's easier to understand. And the exhaust it produced was oxygen. What? So it burns the hydrogen, and then the exhaust fumes oxygen. That's good, isn't it? That's
right.
Good. You could not kill yourself with a car like that. You couldn't.
Water, Mickey, is the actual output, and oxygen comes out as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's phenomenal.
That's what happens. Yeah. There's a guy in California who made a hot rod out of by using hydrogen fuel, and
Yeah.
and he gets hate from people. I've seen an interview with him, and he gets hate by, you can't drive that in California because everyone's like, what? No, right? We're doing our best to save the entire planet here in California. You can't drive that. Look at that. And he goes, it burns hydrogen, and the only output is water. In fact, it burns less carbon than your EV, even though you're outsourcing it. And I think Toyota and Honda are now joining together to produce hydrogen engines now.
Say, that's good.
Yeah,
That is good.
that's the real way forward, to be honest, everyone.
Yes. Yeah. And batteries, look,
There was a car fire today in the tunnel, Mickey.
was there?
Yeah.
Oh, luckily I wasn't in the city.
Eastern distributor.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
normally where I go. Okay. Oh, okay. Wow.
And there was a pregnant lady there. So I think she was
gee.
the driver, and her car just caught fire, and she had to stop, and it caused some traffic chaos. But she's okay. She's okay.
Wow.
But the noxious fumes from an EV fire are so horrendous
Oh, yeah.
that you shouldn't breathe any of it in.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, no, it's highly toxic. By the
Yeah.
way, thank you, Flea, for that link. There's a Flea just put a link to your Toyota hydro car.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But
You
look,
can, with the right materials, you can convert any combustion engine into one that can burn hydrogen.
yeah, of course, because it is still internal combustion. It's
Yeah, exactly right. The only thing different
fuel.
is the intake and the injectors and the fuel lines, for that matter, and a storage tank.
Yeah.
Remember, we used to convert fuel, regular fuel burning cars into LPG.
Yes, of course. Same principle.
Yeah, that's right.
100%. Sorry, liquid. It's liquid gas. Right?
Petroleum gas. That's right.
Yeah, it's liquid, right? So, but anyway, so yes, of course you can. And diesel, of course, is even simpler. You can burn olive oil if you really wanted to.
SVO, Mickey. I love SVO.
Yeah.
Straight vegetable oil.
Fish. It smells like fish and chips.
It does.
It does. But see, so we are addicted to electricity, right? In this world, it's not coal, it's not oil, it's all that's nonsense. No. It's electricity we need. Because if we have no electricity, our lives would simply stop. Gone. No more. We even need electricity to start our cars. People, what? What do you mean? Because the starter of a car is electric in nature. Okay? Not like, in fact, in the olden days, you had a crank to start the car.
That's right.
So we just made the crank a lot easier. Because you have to, start the ignition sequence. But the key thing here is to understand that the hydrogen, right, solution, or other solutions, solar would be okay as far as efficient enough solar cells. But hydrogen will get us away from a reliance on electricity for running our cars. Like, you still need electricity for cars, don't get me wrong, but you no longer need the electricity and the batteries to run the car.
That's right.
Right. So the energy consumption or the electricity consumption is a lot less, which is good for everybody, because the less electricity you use, the less carbon fuels you will burn until we get to completely clean electric power, solar, wind, etc. Not quite there yet. So it is really important for us to reduce our electricity usage. Now, and there are two major things here that's stopping that, Dave. Actually, three. One, this whole electric car craze. There it is. Yeah, hurrah! We're so green. Electric cars. We saved the planet. From what?
No.
What are you saving the
We're
planet
just creating smug.
Yeah, that's different. Two, cryptocurrency.
Mm-hmm.
The mining, and I still haven't got an answer to my question, by the way.
Uh-huh.
The mining of crypto is consuming so much electricity. It still is. People might not think it's a thing anymore. It's still a thing, and not only that, there are now more cryptocurrencies than we've ever had before. But I still ask the same question. Just indulge me for a second here. What is it that we're doing when we're mining cryptocurrency. What is it that we're doing? Oh, we're getting more crypto. What algorithms are we solving, and for what purpose?
That's exactly that's the question that I raised, because I started mining for a while. I did it for a whole year, and I could not understand what cryptography we were trying to break.
Yeah. So that's my question. What are we actually doing? I don't know. We're getting more crypto. Shut up.
You're rewarded with cryptocurrency.
Yes, that's
is
correct.
what is you're not finding some cryptocurrency by mining, but you're breaking a crypt. Well, it appears as though you're breaking something that's locked, and as you get closer to the answer, like you find a couple of numbers, then you're rewarded by that currency. And
Maybe it's gone.
I reckon you could be trying to hack NASA or US military codes,
Look,
unbeknownst to you.
You could do. I mean, we don't know because we don't know. That's my point. It could be Fermi's last theorem. I'm okay with that, right? But ultimately, I'd like to know what it is we're trying to do here, or what is being done, rather. What is being done?
Yeah.
That's two. The third one, and more significant as we move forward into the world, is AI, generative AI, and all of that. So you know what the biggest tech company in the world is today?
What's that?
NVIDIA.
Oh yeah. I've seen their video card in an oven.
Yeah, hands down. And like the cloud, and this is really interesting. Maybe only for tech geeks. But the big things that we all now take for granted came about by complete accident. So we all talk about the cloud these days, right? And everybody thinks like it's a thing that was developed in some lab. That's complete nonsense. Google and Amazon, independently, probably from each other, looked at their server farms because their business relied on a whole bunch of computing power and storage. That's the business model, right? Amazon ships a whole bunch of stuff around the world. That's the business model. Google is a search engine. The faster it can search, the better. But that's how they started, right? They needed a lot of computing power and they needed a lot of storage, right? It got to a point where they had excessive amounts of compute power and storage. In fact, so much so that it wasn't used all the time, right? So some geniuses thought, it's actually not a bad idea. Why don't we sell the excess? Oh, that's a great idea. And the cloud was born. That's what happened, right? With NVIDIA is a graphics card designer maker.
Yep.
They make graphic cards for computers. That's what they do. In the olden days, a graphics card didn't have any onboard memory, right? It used the memory of the computer. But then the games, the software, sort of took off, and the hardware was trying to catch up with it, right? So you would play games, but they would lag, right? And you're trying to shoot someone, and if the other guy had a better video card than you, then you would die. And I remember this from 25 years ago at work. We had network games after work, right?
I know, I remember those days. A lot of fun.
And people, I know. And people would bring in their own video cards and install them into the machines, and they would win. And NVIDIA was a pioneer. And eventually, the video card became more powerful than the rest of the computer, right?
Yeah, that's right.
There were processors on there. They had memories and caching on the video card,
that's right.
and dedicated to rendering of graphics for games. And the games became more interesting. I mean, I don't know if I'm sure everybody has played games, but you look at the graphics that exist today compared to 30 years ago, it's phenomenal, right?
The Unreal 5 engine is amazing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, dynamic lighting, that came in with Diablo 2 or 3, Diablo 3. And
now we have ray tracing.
Yeah.
Which also renders all the bounced light.
Yeah. Now, and again, you think, oh, so what? Now, this mathematically speaking, these are phenomenal breakthroughs.
That's right. Okay?
Because they're now emulating the real world. They're emulating the real. This is not pre-coded. This is happening as you play it, right? That's how. But anyway, so they got more and more advanced in the video cards. I remember years ago I went to a seminar or some kind of presentation with NVIDIA, and talking about all kinds of things. Some of it hasn't come yet. other things have. But certainly they were talking about crystal matrices for storage and light switching and light computing, etc., etc. And truly having light, right, as the medium. Anyway, now they developed these amazing cards, chips, really, with an astonishing processing power, and it is those chips that NVIDIA developed for gaming that are being used in machine learning and deep learning, which is really the basis for what we like to call AI or generative AI.
And also mining crypto.
Yes, correct.
Mm-hmm.
So
they're the most powerful CPUs on the planet. They're called GPUs, yeah.
That's exactly GPUs. Now, none of this was planned. None of this was planned. There wasn't like the guy sat down 30 years ago, I'm going to build some GPUs and have some crypto and AI. No. This was completely coincidental, driven by well, of all things, market forces and gaming preferences, right? People wanted faster gaming experience.
They'll pay a lot for that.
Oh, my brother built his own PC.
Yeah, me too.
And you did as well. I didn't really ever. I modified my PCs. I never built them from scratch. And thousands would be spent. Thousands and thousands would be spent on video cards alone. And so that's what happens. And so no, there's no great intelligent guiding force at hand. This particular stuff is more or less random, right? And I like that because I know the parasites didn't have a hand in it. And this is for them. This must be as bewildering as it is for most of us, right? Because they just don't understand it most likely. They look at it and they go, okay, well, I'm not really sure what that means. But clearly it's good stuff. So let's have some more of it, right? And none of us can predict the consequences of any of this. There's a great convergence that's going to happen here, right? Computing power, storage capacity, alternative ways of addressing the world, DNA, right? Modification. It is all just, it's crashing in on us. No one tells you. You're still watching the Shadows on the Wall. Everything's hunky-dory. Taylor Swift is singing, hurrah, good luck to you. And Usher is the was it a halftime show at the Super Bowl?
That's correct, yeah. She was watching it. She didn't perform.
Yeah, that's right. Usher was the guy. I mean, good for you. Good for you. But the truth is there's a storm on the horizon. When you on a really hot summer's day, it's hot. It's stinking hot. But you can smell the ozone in the air, right? You can feel the electricity building up as well. The birds are flying low because the insects are flying low because air pressure is rising, and that's what happens. Whenever in Germany, whenever the swallows were flying low, we knew there'd be a thunderstorm because the insects were flying low.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's the thing. some farmer's wisdom for you. And you could feel the build-up of the thunderstorm. I remember when I was a child. And still you can feel it here in Australia as well. And it builds up and builds up until it reaches a crescendo of just unloading.
You're making me sweat.
I know, of electrical discharge and heavy rain.
Yeah.
But afterwards it was such a cleansing experience, right? But we are in the moments before the storm. Okay, we haven't reached the storm yet, and we're certainly not in the cleansing part of it. Nowhere near. Okay. So we will definitely see this happening pretty soon because the storm clouds are building, and people feel it. I think people feel it.
Making me sweat. Seriously. It's just commenced raining here, and as you're describing it, the air's getting thicker, and I'm sweating. So hey, it's 56 minutes past the hour.
Wow, that went by quickly. Oh, I just want to have a shout out, sorry, to Flea, who's been giving us some really brilliant comments. Thank you so much, Flea. Really appreciate it. I'm going to read this one out. It all goes back to the original Tron, where we will all get sucked into the electron matrix of an NVIDIA GPU and ride around on light cycles and be able to take 90-degree right-angle turns at the speed of light, just like a UFO. I like it. And just for our listeners here, maybe you're new come into the chat, participate. We do our best to monitor the chat as we speak. We can't always answer everything, but we do our level best to do that, because I know if you take the time to come to the chat and participate and write, chat in the chat, then we should honor that. But thank you so much for doing that. And that's the music. So this has been Plato's Cave. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. A short hour it was. I'm sure something else is coming up to take you through the morning wherever you are. For us, though, it's a sign-off, and we'd like to say one thing, the most important thing.